Today on the podcast, we have Arsenal and England striker Alessia Russo. Alessia was part of the Lionesses team that won the Euros back in 2022, and she has American roots as well, having played for the University of North Carolina for 3 seasons from 2017 to 2019. She is one of the deadliest finishers in the game, and I am so excited to have her on the show today. Alessia, welcome to the Women's Game.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited that you're here. It's really great to be with you. So, Arsenal is currently on a preseason tour of the United States, playing games against the Washington Spirit and Chelsea. And I mentioned up top that you spent 3 years in the U.S. during college at UNC. What's it like to be back?
So nice. I love America. I've missed it. So haven't missed the humidity and the weather because it's horrible.
I know. What do you love about it?
I think I love the people. They're all so friendly. Even since we've been here, everyone's just so nice and welcoming. I just think it's massive. Everything is huge compared to Little England. So yeah, it's nice. And I like the food. I love Chipotle. So I'm excited to be back here, and I'm going to Chipotle.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you to get Chipotle. I feel like everybody who's like not from America has like one American food that they're obsessed with. So it's so good to know that that's Chipotle. We had a fan write in a question for you. Sarah Bisselink wrote in and said, to you, Alessia, what was it like playing for UNC, and what are your favorite memories from that time?
I loved my time at UNC. Honestly, like when I look back at it, it was just the best 3 years ever for me at that time. The people, like I made some of my best friends in college. I didn't have any expectations. Like I didn't know what life would bring in America, and I was only 18 at the time. So I just thought, let's just see what it's all about. And I loved it, the campus, just everything. I love films and like the American culture as well. So to come out here and see like the sororities and the fraternities, and yeah, I loved it.
Oh my gosh.
Such an experience.
Were you in a sorority?
No, I wasn't. Don't think I had time.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realise they had to do like, it's not just like you join and you have like parties and you hang out. There's like actual commitments that you have to the sorority.
I know, they do like a lot of charity, I guess.
Yeah, and like they're like put to work, I think.
It's great. I was not in a sorority either. I feel like I went to UCLA, and I feel like your team is your sorority. Like you have immediately getting to college, you just automatically have 25 great friends.
Yeah.
And I had the best time in college too. Hearing you talk about how much fun you had, like what I miss the most about college is that you just kind of had no real responsibilities, and you were just kind of free, like go to practice and then like kind of go to class, and then it was just like fun with your friends all the time.
Yeah, there was always something going on, something to do. If someone was having people over and you'd be in the back garden or whatever and just chilling out, or there was a party, or there was this. It was just, there was always something going on.
I know. It was so great. Do you think while you were here that you like adopted any American traits or preferences that you find yourself still like doing?
Well, I definitely did when I was there. One of my best friends, Ella Toon, she's proper Manchester, and we were talking about this today actually, that when I came back from America for England camps and I would start speaking, she would be like, what are you saying? Like, does it, like, you thought my voice changed, my accent changed, and then I would say practice instead of training, the field instead of the pitch.
Yeah.
Shut up, like you've changed. But yeah, besides from that, not really. I just picked up a bit of an American twang.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. I think when I was playing in Manchester, every now and then I'd find myself kind of not having like a Manchester twang at all, but like, you know how everybody says, "You okay?"
Yeah,
and then you kind of have to just say that back, but that's just everybody saying, "How are you?"
Yeah.
And so I kind of started saying that, which was like, it was a big adjustment for me. But okay, so Alessia, this is the beginning of your second season with Arsenal. And I want to start off just by asking you about somebody that our listeners know very well, and someone that I know you know very well. You played with her both at UNC, and now she's at Arsenal as well, Emily Fox. So I'm curious to hear from you. What do you think makes Foxy so good, and how is she adjusted to being in England and playing for Arsenal with you?
Yeah, she's great. Even in college, like I knew that she would be one of the best right backs in the world, or left back. She played both in college and can do. Yeah, she's just so powerful. She's so athletic. Like, it's crazy. And considering the adversity that she's had in the past with injuries as well, to still have your body move like that and compete as hard as she can is credit to her and the work that she's put in. But no, she's great. She's such a unique character as well. She's so quiet until you get to know her and you get her out of her shell. But no, she's great, and she has been doing amazing things, and we were so happy for her to win gold and be on those stages that she deserves.
I know. It was so fun for us to watch her do that as well. So you're originally from Maidstone, which is a little bit southeast of London, and you've played now in North Carolina, in Manchester for United, but now you're a little bit closer to home with Arsenal. What has that transition been like to you, and has your family been able to come see you in more of the games?
Yeah, it's been really nice. My family, to be honest, my dad doesn't really miss a game anyway, no matter where it is in the world. He's actually flying out to Washington with my mum tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
I think they're just coming for more of a holiday as well, but it's just coincides with football. But yeah, it's been really nice. I'm only about an hour away from home now. So I go down there, or they come to mine, sometimes a lot more than they could have before. I think ever since I moved out, I've been quite far away. So it's nice to be a lot closer to home and have mum come around and cook me some dinners sometimes to back. And I love London, the city's so cool.
Yeah. London is so big. Every time I'm in London, I feel like I see like so little of it. It just feels like such a big city.
Yeah, it is. And if you're walking around London, you get tired quickly because it's massive.
Well, so my sister Christy lives in London now. Next time I go, do you have any spots I should check out?
Oh yeah, you should. Have you been to Notting Hill?
Yes, we have. It's
nice.
So cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been to Covent Garden. I like it around there too.
I want to say yes because I've heard of it, so I feel like I have, but I will keep that in mind next time I go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so last season, your Arsenal team won the League Cup, and that was your first trophy at the club level in professional soccer. So that game, from what I remember, it was incredibly intense. It was a matchup against Chelsea. What did that moment feel like, beating Chelsea and winning that trophy with Arsenal?
It was great. Obviously, to win trophies, that's what you dream. Like, they're the best moments as a player, when you win a tournament with your country, or a league or a cup or anything with your team. So I think there's no better thing than winning a trophy as a team. So it was amazing for that. And also against Chelsea, it's always a massive game when Arsenal against Chelsea, whether it's in the cup and in a friendly or in anything. It's just a massive game. And yeah, it's two top sides in London facing each other. So the fact that it was against Chelsea as well was also cool. But yeah, it gives you a little taste of winning trophies as a team, and now at club football, and yeah, definitely want more of that this season.
Arsenal have been the club that have really led the way for the women's game in England, and you're continuing to do that this coming season. All of your home games are going to be played at Emirates Stadium, which holds just over 60,000 fans. And your team has played some of your home games there last season in front of what seemed to be sold out crowds every single time. There was like always these new records coming out from the Emirates Stadium. How does that feel, and how excited are you to be there for every home game going forward this season?
It's amazing. I'm so excited. Playing at the Emirates is a feeling like no other. We were actually me, Leah and Beth were having a conversation in an interview about the Emirates and how it just feels like home. Sometimes when you play in a stadium that's not actually yours, it doesn't have that feel. But yeah, the Emirates is felt like home ever since my first game there, and for the girls too. And I think just the fans are incredible. I know we say it all the time, but we really feel their energy. We feel it wherever we play because they follow us all over the country. But they're just incredible. And in times when we needed them last season, they were always there. So it's nice for them as well to be at Emirates and experience those kind of moments with us. And hopefully we'll have some big performances there this year.
Yeah. What would you say, like, why do you think that Arsenal as a club has done such an incredible job engaging the fans, getting you guys to Emirates? Like, what is it about the club that has set you players up for such success?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you do, it's not like it's in your face, like it's not a kind of marketed thing where it's like in your face. It's more of a genuine connection to Arsenal and the club and its history and what the women's team has done in the past. And I think whenever you think of Arsenal, and I know when I was coming in, when you think of Arsenal, they have such a rich history in winning in the past, and there's a real legacy of the women's team here. So I think there's that, and there's a genuine connection of these fans that want to be on this journey with us to hopefully go on and achieve great things.
Yeah, that's incredible. Just seeing the way that Arsenal has, like you said, created this connection with the fans, and it does seem so deeply ingrained in you all as players and in your relationship with the fans, and that shows in your play and in just this fact that you're going to be playing at this huge stadium week in and week out. It's such an incredible accomplishment already. I want to talk about your England career a little bit. So your Euros win with the Lionesses in 2022 was such a pivotal and important moment for the women's game in England, and you were such a key part of that team and that victory. So I want to ask you about one of the most iconic moments of that tournament, your backheel goal against Sweden in the semifinal, which was nominated for a prestigious FIFA Puskas Award, which is awarded each year to the best goal scored. Can you walk us through the goal and then like your realization as you saw the ball hit the back of the net?
Well, I should have scored the first time. It got played across to me from Fran Kirby, and I hit it straight at the keeper. I mean, she made a good save, but I should have scored initially. So I think I was more just trying to make up for a mistake, and it was pure instinct. I don't think I'll ever do it again. I didn't even think I've ever done it before. It just kind of happened, and I don't know how, and I don't know why. But I think one thing that Serena kind of instilled in us throughout that tournament was that we could just be free and play with freedom. And I think that I would never have done that in that moment if that wasn't the message that we got. So yeah, and it was one of the reasons why we won the tournament was all of us were playing off instinct, and some of the the goals that we scored throughout the tournament and some of the actions that different players did, it was just pure it was just class. And I think that whole tournament was just the best summer ever.
Oh, I know. It sounds like it was really amazing. We're going to talk a little bit more about it, but I want to ask you about something you just said. Like, there was a lot of talk about this with this U.S. team at the Olympics just recently, how Emma Hayes may have kind of let them play a little bit more freely, and that actually resulted in more free-flowing and more instinctual, maybe, football. And so I'm curious to know from you, playing under Serena, the difference between feeling, sometimes when I played, I felt like if I made a mistake, I'd just get yanked off the field. But the difference when your coach gives you a little bit of freedom to try something like a back heel in front of goal, how does that affect you as a player and your mindset in the biggest games?
Yeah, I think I play my best football when I'm not thinking too, overthinking, and I'm free and I feel like confident and comfortable. And I think that's the same for most people. I think, when you can play off your instincts, is obviously there's a structure and there's like a game plan that you're trying to complete. But when players have that freedom in it too, I think it's great, and it gives players a chance to express themselves. And look, you're playing with some amazing players, and they're all capable of doing crazy things. So it's cool, and I know for me personally, when you're given that little bit of trust and freedom, it brings out really good things.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a 6v6 or a small-sided game. I felt like I played my best in the small-sided game because there was less structure, and you would shoot from an angle that maybe you wouldn't have in a 11v11 game. Like, it almost allows this instinctual kind of what you're saying, this side of you to be free, and it's more fun and it's almost happier. And I feel like I see that. I can imagine that that's kind of how you feel playing under Serena, and even how this U.S. team felt at the Olympics. It was almost this pickup, like, let's just try it and see what happens. And that sounds like so much fun. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, small-sided games are like one of my favorite parts of sessions. Yeah. It's the best part, isn't it? So
oh my God, it's so fun.
Exactly. So that's when you feel like you're freest. So yeah, I mean, it's nice when you're given that little bit of trust, and I think you're right. I saw it with the US team. Like I watched pretty much all of the Olympics, and yeah, especially with like the forward line that the US have, like so talented, and like they are free, like so skillful as well. So when you're given that license to kind of go out and do what you're good at, it makes it more exciting to watch as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wish 11v11 always felt like 5v5. That would be like the best. Okay, so back to the Euros. There was another amazing moment in the final when Chloe Kelly scored, but you had gone down in the penalty box in a kind of like off the ball collision as the goal was being scored. And so I read somewhere that somebody had stepped on your foot and you were like down in agony, but then as soon as the ball hit the back of the net, you like popped up to go and celebrate. What was that whole situation like from your perspective? Did you just like see the goal and the pain disappeared?
Well, yeah, I got stepped on and I was like I can't remember how it was, but I went down and I just thought, like, one, I thought that was sore, and two, I didn't know if it would maybe be a penalty. I can't remember what it was like. I just thought that hurt. So I like fell to the floor. And then I didn't see the goal go in. I saw nothing because my head was on the floor. But I heard the stadium just erupt. Like, it just went crazy. So I just got like shot up and I saw people running. So I just joined the line and just chased off with them. I had no idea who scored, how it went in. I heard that it was like, obviously we'd scored, and I knew the game, like obviously we were coming to an end as well. So yeah, I just kind of went with it and just acted like I knew what was going on, but I had no idea.
Oh my gosh, that is really funny. When the final whistle blew of that game and you realized that you had just won the Euros in your home nation, what did you feel like? Like, what emotions were you feeling?
I was crying, and then I was laughing, and then I was just happy. I felt everything. Like, it was my first tournament for England, and before the tournament started, I just wanted to go into it with like an open mind and just enjoy every single day, every single session, and the games and just what came with it. I just wanted to kind of soak it all in. And again, I didn't know what to expect either. But as the days went on and the games went on, I was like, this is just incredible. I just loved every moment of it and the whole tournament. Even I came on as a sub quite a lot. So then you train the next day. And as you know, like in tournaments, sometimes that can be quite hard after you've had like an amazing win, and then you've got to wake up and train after a late night or whatever. But even those sessions, like they were just like everyone was just on a high the whole time, which is really cool. So yeah, I mean, the whole tournament was just really special. And I think, with my expectations going into it, I just wanted to make sure I made the most of it.
How did your team celebrate? Like, what did you guys do?
We had a party right after with all our friends and family. And it was the best night ever. We had a DJ on and a dance floor in the middle. And I think everyone was on the dance floor all night. There was a lot of sore heads. The next day we had to go and do a parade in central London. And it was so hot and everyone was struggling. And it was just intense. But the actual night was so fun. The DJ, I think he had like a time limit that he was on for, and we were trying to convince him to extend it because everyone was on such a high. I think he stayed with one more song and then he got off.
That is so funny. Well, since that tournament and that win, the women's game in England has really exploded, and I want to know what that's been like. Like, there are murals of you all everywhere. I saw loads of them when I was in Manchester earlier this year. You're all having fields built in your hometowns that will prioritize girls playing soccer. Women's football has changed so much, but I feel like your lives also must have changed a lot. How have you guys adjusted to this new reality?
Yeah, I don't think any one of us would have expected the kind of reaction that we got after the tournament. And we were really protected throughout. Like, we didn't have any of the news on. We didn't know what was going on outside. All we'd do is go to the games and you kind of see it there because of all the fans and stuff. But then we'd come back to our little hotel in our little bubble and would be switched off. So I think coming out of it originally, it was like a shock to all of us because we were like, what have we just done here? Which is amazing. But it was hard as well because we'd gone from pretty much overnight, gone from just being like women's football players that were never really in the spotlight and not really on that kind of level, to people recognizing you, people wanting photos with you all the time. Like, you changed overnight pretty much, because we were in camp and then we were not. So it was hard to begin with to adjust to. But I think now the best thing about it is the kind of legacy that it's left and the sustainability of it all. And I think it's lasted a long time, and there's lots more things that we're doing as a nation and as the FA and as England to try and keep that bar high and keep young girls in the sport and make sure that everyone has a route in. But the game kind of skyrocketed since then, and it's still like that right now.
I know your team was such a huge, and it was that moment was such a pivotal moment, I feel, for women's soccer in England. And so it kind of leads me to my next question. How different does women's football look now than it did when you were a young kid growing up? We know that you came to college in America because that seemed like such a great opportunity. Does it seem like it would be really different now if you were 12 or 13 years old and wanting to be a professional footballer?
Yeah, I think so. Because for me, the main thing when I was young, and even now, what I think for young girls is that when you can see it, you can be it a little bit more. And I think that with the games and all the TV coverage of all these games, it's not difficult to find a women's game, find a women's team, and watch in person if you want to too. Whereas when I was growing up, if I wanted to interact or kind of being around women's football, you had to physically always be in the stadium. You had to find somehow how the games were going to be on. They weren't just publicised and advertised. Like, you had to do some digging to find where the games were going to be and things like that. And now girls can go on TikTok and find thousands of videos of their favourite female player doing silly stuff. And I think there's a lot more access to us, which is cool. But I just hope it continues and hope it gets even better for the next generation of girls coming through.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I just want to say one more time how incredible it has been to watch how women's football has grown in popularity and in passion in England. And it's so much is because of you and your teammates and what you all did at the Euros and what you've done since to continue pushing that forward. We have a couple of fan questions for you. So SNG243 on Twitter asks, I saw a picture of you once with Kelly Smith when you were a young girl. Was Kelly Smith your idol growing up, or was there another player maybe that you looked up to more?
Kelly Smith was my idol. I used to love her growing up. I actually also loved Mia Hamm as well.
Me too.
But in England, it was Kelly Smith for sure.
A couple more. AWFC Dreamer asked, were you always a striker, or did you play different positions when you were a kid?
I played all over when I was a kid. Most of my youth, like when I was quite young, I was in the 10. And then when I went to college, I was actually a left forward until my junior year. And we played a 2 up top, and I went into the 2 up top. And then I've just been a 9 since the last few years. So not that long.
Yeah. Did you like any other positions enough to want to play them? Or once you were up top and scoring goals, you were like, this is good?
I've always liked to have been as close to the goal as possible. So now I'm as close as it gets. I think I'll try and stay there.
I love that. Okay, Gigi on Instagram wants to know, who's the toughest defender you've played against?
Again, actually, I mean, I come up against a lot of tough defenders every day in training with Lotta and Leah and Coddy. We have loads of talented players here. But I think one that stands out when I was in college, and I was kind of new to playing against like American style, was Naomi Girma. I played against her when she was at Stanford and I was at UNC, and she was really tough, and she's just had an amazing Olympics too.
I know, she really, really has. She's an incredible player. Okay, This is our last question for you. It's from Miedema Feet Evans, and they asked if you could trade a British thing for an American thing, what would it be? And then they specified that they want you to get rid of Marmite.
I love Marmite, so I mean, Marmite will stay. But,
so you're going to keep Marmite?
Yeah, I'm going to keep Marmite, but...
It's a tough question.
I loved Goldfish, you know, them little
Oh,
cheese snacks
yeah.
things.
What?
Yeah, I used to love them. So I'm gonna get some.
Okay, so you want goldfish in England. What would you get rid of?
I would swap Goldfish for mini cheddars, which is like kind of our equivalent,
Okay.
but Goldfish.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, this is actually, I have to ask you this. This is just a question from me. I just recently had Esme Morgan on the podcast, and we were talking about how when I lived in Manchester, I like couldn't figure out your laundry, like the dryers. And
Yeah.
I felt like you'd put your clothes in and they'd get washed and then they'd stay in there to get dried and they were never really dry because like obviously the washing machine was like just kind of wet all the time.
Yeah.
And so I asked Esme, have you used the dryer yet? Like, are your clothes like wicked dry? And she said that actually it was like a huge adjustment and she couldn't get used to like the new laundry situation. So I want to ask you if you've noticed a difference in the laundry between England and your time in America.
Yeah, well, to be honest, when I was a kid growing up, I never put anything in the dryer. I don't even think we had a dryer. We would just hang it on the line in the garden. So, yeah, when I came to America and I moved into apartments when I was at college, they all had a washer and a dryer.
Right.
It saves a lot
And
of
then
time.
did you start being like, yeah, dryers are awesome?
Yeah, and now I want a dryer. Like where I go next, I want to have a dryer too. Saves a lot of
This
time.
this is so validating to me because I literally could not figure it out when I lived in England. So I'm so happy to end our episode with that. Thank you for answering that. This has been so much fun to have you on, and it's always such a joy to watch you on the field. You're just so clinical, and you always seem to know exactly how to get the ball into the back of the net. So we'll be watching. Good luck with Arsenal and with England, and thank you again for doing this.
No worries, thanks. It was nice to come on. I've watched it a
Yeah,
lot.
good.
Your podcast. It always
Oh.
comes on my Instagram and TikTok.
Good to know. Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
No worries.
Thank you all so much for listening and for sending in those great fan questions for Alessia. I love that we got to her to talk about Goldfish, and naturally I'm going to continue to bring up laundry with every single English person that I get to speak to. Alessia and Arsenal are back in London after their US tour, getting ready for their first WSL game of the season on September 22nd against Manchester City. If you want more women's soccer updates, subscribe to our newsletter, which gets delivered to your inbox every Monday. You can subscribe by following the link tree in our social media bios. Also, follow TWG across social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads at Women's Game MIB. Next week, we have another episode of Good Vibes that will recap the NWSL games this weekend. And then we have a really great Friendlies interview with Gotham's Anne Katrine Berger. I sat down with Anne last week while I was in New York, and we spoke about her transition from Chelsea to Gotham, her penalty kick technique at the Olympics, and her battle with thyroid cancer. Anne is a truly remarkable human being, and I'm so excited for you all to hear from her. In the meantime, we've got lots of NWSL to watch this weekend. I think I'm most excited for Orlando versus Gotham on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope everyone enjoys a long weekend this weekend. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll see you soon.